This substance that many presume to be man-made is the strongest and sturdiest of all. Able to withstand an onslaught from almost any type, the Steel type is the new monolith, standing as the strongest defensive type in the world of Pokemon. Hey guys, it's Elogee. I'm here today with Pockety.
AKA Poketime90.
And we're here for day 6, maybe 7, I lost count, of the 12 days of Pokemon Memories. All I know is today we will be going... I don't know what that noise was, but all I know is today we will be going...
Day 5.
We will be going over the Steel typing.
Alright, so do you want to get it started? What is your favorite Steel type?
Well, mine... I had a few, but ultimately the decision was pretty easy for me, that being Empoleon. I've always liked Empoleon. It was the only choice for me for Gen 4 starters. I loved Piplup. I've grown to like Chimchar. I don't have strong feelings either way for Torterra family, but Empoleon has always been my favorite. Back in the day, it was mainly defensive and strong, especially like I think at the time it came out, it was the strongest. It had the highest special attack of any starter Pokemon, which is, not something I think a lot of people realize. But yeah, that was its defining feature, as well as, Steel type. It just had a lot of bulk, good natural bulk, a lot of resistances. I liked its ability to set up things like Swords Dance. It had Aqua Jet too, so it can be physical. I just really like it all around. I think it's an all-around very good Pokemon that can do a lot of things. It's admittingly outclassed in some areas, but I think its ability to do so many different things is what makes me like it so much. What do you have to say about Empoleon?
Well, I don't know that I would describe Empoleon as being outclassed by much. It is in my honorable mentions, but if you watch any of I put up like the first half of the season of UTA Season 2, which I came away as the victor of the whole season. And I had Empoleon, and it was the kill leader for much of the season. I just did crazy things with it. It has all of the setups, great typing. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, it's on my honorable mentions list, so I very much support that decision, and I have to say I did expect you to pick it.
Okay. Well, what you got for your favorite then?
I think we can also expect what I picked for my favorite Steel type, which is Excadrill. It's my main Steel man. My first draft league, I used it in my round 1 pick with the Mega T-Tar, and they did really well. I had a couple Exca sweeps. I imagine that it will just be all the better with this current gen when they decided Rapid Spin was not mandatory on all mods that were able to get it already, that they're like, oh, now it's also going to raise your speed. So I can only imagine Excadrill is going to be even more OU if it's not like banned. But yeah, I used him in my favorite game being Pokemon Black and in leagues, so obviously it had to be my choice, and I don't think that surprised you. Is that right?
That is right. I was surprised when it wasn't your favorite ground type, but then I remembered it's also Steel, and it was probably going to be your Steel type, and that was the case. So yep, definitely expected. I like Excadrill too, but it's definitely for what it's done for me, it's definitely done way more for you, so I agree that it is your favorite.
Also, shout out to Moldbreaker Excadrill saying, I don't care about your unaware, and just like wrecking in a recent league that I was in, who might be watching this. That was a good thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's that. We already kind of mentioned some honorable mentions. Why don't we go with you first?
Okay, so my other honorable mentions who have not been mentioned yet. So there's Aggron. I've always loved Aggron. I used it in like every single playthrough of Ruby, whether I caught it early and trained it, or like I said with Xclad, I caught it for that last mon to add to my team at the end of the game in Victory Road, and then just grew at 1 level to evolve. But yeah, I loved it. I love that it wasn't just ground type that was always attached with rock and with steel, but it's the steel rock type instead. And I love its Mega too. I use that a lot. One of my favorites, especially for not being OU. I definitely like to use it in UU. And then my other steel honorable mention is, Fortress, which was mentioned in the budges too. But yeah, like I said, XY, UU, and OU, I just use it on a lot of my teams. So what do you think about those two mounts?
Well, regular Aggron, I don't really, I've never used it, I don't think at all, which is a shame because it's definitely cool. I've just never, committed myself to using it in-game or competitively, which I should get around to doing sometime. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I did have it in a playthrough I did of Omega Ruby, so ignore that. Aggron is cool. Fortress, I already said what I thought about it when you did your budge type, so did I? I don't think I commented on your Fortress. I don't remember saying anything about it. Fortress is cool. It just is. Rapid Spin, now that they buffed Rapid Spin and it gets that speed, it's got that base 20 speed, so yeah, Fortress got
I mean, Gyro Ball's not going to be a move anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, all the hazards plus Rapid Spin, yeah, Fortress is great.
All right, so who's your honorable steals?
I had Excadrill. Like I mentioned, I also used it to much success, but while I do like it, I prefer Empoleon over it based on criteria. Also, for my honorable mentions, I had Jirachi. Competitive and casual, I like it. The Jirachi movie was one of the first movies I saw that I wasn't as much of a fan of Pokemon at the time of viewing it, but watching the Pokemon movie just gave me this whimsical feeling I hadn't felt from Pokemon in a while, and I remember always feeling fond towards Jirachi ever since then. That was probably 2003 or 4 that happened, so shoutouts to the Jirachi movie. Yeah, competitive-wise, Jirachi is cool. Ironhead, that's all that really needs to be said, but there's so much more Jirachi can do. It's not just an Ironhead menace. What do you have to say about those?
I mean, Jirachi's a mon that I haven't got to use as much as I want. You know this, but for your loyal fans and subscribers, the last draft leagues that I was in, I do all of the preparation. I make millions of documents and all the math ahead of time, and I just really, really wanted Jirachi, and it never worked out right that I was ever able to draft it, and I've been very sad about that. So, hopefully sometime soon I'll be able to get a Jirachi in a league and, enjoy it and like it even more, but I still really like it. And so, yeah, I support that.
Okay. What do you have to say about the Steel type overall?
Steel type, as we kind of mentioned with the Rock type, it was introduced as a counter to Poison, to Psychic, but it kind of just said Rock type, yeah, we're just gonna be a better you, which makes me want it it less. I feel even though maybe it's not more than 2 mons, but I feel like they introduced 20 mons in Gen 4 that were evolutions of old ones, and they're we're just gonna make you Steel type now. So yeah, that kind of makes me not like it as much. But the Steel types and aren't just randomly added on to old mons. I was very happy Rhyperior wasn't Steel suddenly. But yeah, the Steel types that became Steel always, not just after the fact. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So Excadrill introduces Steel, cool. Aggron introduces Steel, cool. Probopass, not cool. So that's my thing. So Steel types overall, kind of because it just how it was introduced makes me not like it as much, but it's I don't hate it. So what do you think of Steel type after I've said very weird things?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like we mentioned in the Rock episode, it just completely eclipsed Rock as the defensive typing. It's one that I have never really had a particular fondness for, mostly because I'm more, I guess, of an offensive player, and back in the day, there just weren't many viable Steel type attacks, not just because Steel was pretty bad competitively, but I just didn't like a lot of the Steel type attacks. Nowadays, with Fairy type running around, offensively Steel, has its prominence, but I feel for the years that there was no Steel type, or there was no Fairy type, and Steel type was primarily defensive, I feel it's just, I haven't grown yet to the point where Steel is one of my favorite types. I still like it, it's just not one of my favorite types. That's kind of how I feel about it.
And since you mentioned Flash Cannon, shout out to my Starmie Flash Cannoning your Diancie. That's pretty cool.
Wish we didn't have to have that shout out, but you know how it be sometimes.
You know when the Starmies run Flash Cannon.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be this episode of 12 Days of Pokemon Types. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you're looking forward to the next episode. So, I'm Elogee.
I'm Pockety.
And we will see you then.